Hi, today I'm going to show you how to do two different teacher gifts. This one that has a candy bar that slides out and a gift card. This is the Target one this year, so cute. And a little jar that you can decorate the top and just fill with whatever kind of candy you want. Okay, let's get started. These candy bar gift card holders are cased from Inking, Idaho. Hers are a little bit bigger and they're decorated a little bit different, but it's the same general idea. I'm going to show you how to make these in bulk and how to make a whole bunch at once. Supplies. You need a cutter. You need something that will score. That's what this is. You need adhesive. I'm going to use the Scotch glue and the sticky strip. You need scissors, corner rounder, one piece of 8.5 by 11, and matching designer series paper. If you're going to make more than one, you'll need and you're going to decorate it a little bit different than me, you'll need some other things, but this is the basics. I'm going to show you how to make 10 all at once. So to make this easy for the owls, I like to pick 5 colors. So right here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to show you on this piece how to do the cutting. Okay, so at some point you're going to have to pick out your designer series paper. This is the one that I've picked out and these are already cut. That's how I chose these colors. So you need 6.5 by 5.5 piece. That's this size. And then you'll also need a 3 by 2. That's this size. And I like to mix and match the colors on mine so they're not all the same. So I like to make all of mine at once. So this is what you do. You get an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and this is why I chose the measurements I did, because I want to use as much paper as possible. So I cut this exactly in half at 5.5. Then I cut this at 6.5. So that's the first piece that you need. Then this one is already cut at 2, and you need it at 3. This one you don't need, but you set it aside with a stack of other ones, so you can use these to cut out extra owls or circles or whatever. So these are the 2 pieces that you need. Then you do the same thing with this other piece, and then you'll get 2 chocolate bars out of 1 piece of paper. The designer series paper you need, it needs to be 2 1/4 by 2 and 2 1/4 by 2.5. And to make this quick, I just grab my designer series paper and I cut it at 2 1/4. Alright, so you're going to score at 2 inches and then 2 1/8. Then you can score at 4.5, and then you're just going to add an 1/8, or it's 5/8 right there. Another way you can score, if you have a different kind of score tool, make sure this is 6.5 across, is you can do 2 inches and then add an 1/8, and then turn it around and do 2 inches and go back an 1/8. So if that's easier for you to score like that, and then you just do that to each of your candy bar wrappers. For this next part, you'll want to get some sticky strip. Now this is the Stampin' Up! Brand. It is almost exactly 1/4 inch. If you use something else, you need to make sure you cut it down till it's 1/4 inch. The reason that I use this type of adhesive is because it's very, very strong, and this is what's holding on the gift card. Now you're putting this on the very edge of the 2 by 3. Make sure you don't use your other piece of scratch paper. It has to be the 2 by 3. And then I just bring it over here and score it at 1/4 inch. But if I have it a little bit over, it won't fit at 1/4 inch, so I just score it just wherever the edge of that tape is. Like that. If you score it exactly like this, where that tape is, then your gift card will fit perfectly in there. Has a little tiny bit of wiggle room. If you have anything bigger than that, you're not going to be able to get that in. So score at 1/4 inch and put on sticky strip. If you have a different brand, score at 1/4 inch and make sure your tape fits in that little spot. You could trim it if you wanted. Alright, just one other helpful tip. This is an 8.5 by 11. So we've used one of them to score one candy bar, one of them to score the other candy bar. Then we did the two little pockets with the scoring and the sticky strip. So what we have left are these two little pieces. And what I do with those is I punch one of them a circle punch and one of them the scallop. And if you do that with all of them, then you'll have all different colors, and then you can mix and match those. And I put an owl inside mine, but when you make yours, you can pick something else. I think the owl's really cute. All right, we're going to do a little bit more scoring. So here is your candy bar. We're going to score 1 inch right along the top. If you're using this kind of scorer, I usually just press down super light and then really hard right from those, right across those score marks. And then I just stop right there. So it looks like that. So it's light over here, but this is the main part I want to score. Then you're going to take your piece, and this is how I fold it. I do that inside fold first, scrape it down, then I do the outside fold. I don't know why, it's just easier. You need to really use your fingernails or a bone folder or a plastic spoon or something to get these scores nice. Okay, so then do that to all of them. Okay, then you need to take your scissors and you're just going to cut out this little piece right here. I'll show you. So if you did this really hard, it's easy to scratch that out. So, see, just going to clip that down on both those sides. This is my secret. Clip them down on both those sides. Then fold this part down and you can clip that. See if you can see it. Clip it off. Then you have a good, nice mark on that side. And then turn it over. Same thing. Clip it off. So you're getting rid of those two little marks. Okay. Then you need a corner rounder. And you're going to clip here and here. And then the candy bar is going to go inside. And so it's going to be this corner and this one. Let's put it together. This is what you need. 2 types of glue, the candy bar, your gift card, this piece, and this. Okay, so the first thing I do is I use my candy bar as my guide and I put it in. Scotch, strongest glue ever, but it takes, you have to hold it down to make it dry. So I use this to hold it down for me. I'll just put a couple squares of that in. Then I put a little bit of this glue and fold it tight. Let's adhere all this together. Okay, so we take the smaller of our 2 designer series paper and I use the Scotch and just do a thin layer, and then I move it down. I want it to be under this, so I put it right there. Then put the glue up there. So no problem. Now this is the tricky part. You take this, fold these away. This is going to go right over the top, and we're going to put a cute little border. So just do a little bit of glue right there. This is going to hold it. This is strong. So then we'll put this right on top, and we have our cute border. Okay, so this folds down. This is going to go right here, and it's going to keep that gift card from sliding out. It's tight enough it's not going to, but the problem is it needs to sit right there. So I'm going to use this as my little guide. I'll put some glue right here. So it's going to slide in and out just fine once that is glued down. But it will move a little bit and scrunch up if you don't lay it flat. So this is the secret. Take off the sticky strip from one side. Put it all the way on the edge. Almost feel like it's off the edge. Then this part will stay down, and this will go in and out really easy once that has dried. Then we'll take off this side, sticky strip, and just push it down. So don't push it in and out yet because that paper hasn't dried. So once it dries, this will go in and out just fine. Last thing you need is a white piece of cardstock that's 2 1/8 by 7/8. And I cut a whole bunch of these, and I do 10. So I do two in each color. So I did green, this one for green, and then you'll clip these edges. And this is the thank you from Warm Wishes, and then adhere that right there. Now I'm going to show you a couple other things you can do to spice it up. The last two things I do is I tie a bow and then I put an owl on it. I'm just going to show you really quick the madness to how I make an owl. So what I do is I get each of the 5 colors. Since I'm making 10, I do 2 punches of each color. So 2 punches plus 1 scallop and 1 circle, because I already had 1 scallop and 1 circle from the other pieces. So I do that with every color. Then I don't use the vest from each of the colors, so you can throw those out. I do 5 little vests from each of the 2 designer series paper. And then see these little scraps over here? That's how I decide how to do the colors, because it just goes faster. So I start with orange, then the middle circle will be pink, then green owl, then the big eyes will be blue, and then the next little eyes will be yellow, and then go back to the top. The next little eyes will be the orange, then the heart will be pink. Then I'll move this down and start the same system again. And I use the Scotch glue for everything, and I have a little pin in here so it doesn't get stuck, and if it does get stuck I can get it out. But this works really well for picking up those little tiny eyes and putting them on after you have the glue down. So that's how I do a bunch of eyes in bulk, or a bunch of owls in bulk.